What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. I have a Hitmonchan Wobbuffet deck here for the expanded format. Gonna go on the ladder and play a few games with it. Not many changes since Greensboro. I replaced the bench barrier Mr. Mime with the scoop up block Mime. So since the theory is you keep Wobbuffet in the active and you have the bench barrier Mime on the bench, versus Archie's, a Silent Lab turns off both the Wobbuffet and the bench barrier, so they're getting it through the bench barrier regardless. But if they don't hit the Silent Lab, just the Wobbuffet is usually enough because it stops them from attaching a lot of energy to their Wailord. So in this case, a Guzma will also do the trick, but Guzma means they're not playing a different supporter and drawing more cards. And the scoop up block is really great because Acerola doesn't work for them, which is a huge problem versus them because they have those the Wailord Magikarp and the Snorlax Eevee tag team Pokemons that are high HP. Another new inclusion is the Kecleon from Dark Explorers, I believe. No, Plasma something. Anyway, so this is for, it's a Trashalanche counter, Garbodor Trashalanche from Guardians Rising. Imitak. For a colorless, choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks. If this Pokemon has the necessary energy to use that attack, use it as this attack. And color change makes it the same type as your opponent's active Pokemon. So if your opponent doesn't have Garbotoxin in play, then this can knock them out with 3 items in their discard pile because you'll put a Prism Energy, copy Trashalanche for 60, and then color change makes you a Psychic Pokemon. Even if they have Garbotoxin, 6 items knocks them out. I'm trying Adventure Bag. The energy count is a little different. Since I'm running the Kecleon, I think 2 counter energy can be pretty cool. 2 counter energy is pretty good anyway because you use it for Shaman and Wobbuffet. 4 strong, 3 prism, and 1 fighting. The 1 fighting is actually super relevant versus Xurkitree GX. Its ability can't be hit by Pokemon with special energy on it. And nothing else too notable, so let's start playing some games with this. Versus David with a bunch of numbers. 131097. Could be a pop ID. Oh no, it's probably 101397. A birth date from not in the US where our numbers are backwards. He's got a lightning deck box. That could be a good sign for us. We will start out with Mr. Mime in the active. That's probably the most universal Pokemon out of the 3 here that we have. Mr. Mime can be good against a lot of decks, since a lot of decks will play Acerola. Okay, so Pikarom with Rough Seas probably. They could definitely be playing Acerola, whereas Kecleon and Shaman would likely not help us versus Pikarom. And they're going first. Starting with Marshadow is not very good. Benching a Zapdos. So maybe it's just a Zapdos deck. We'll have to see. Or they've transferred Pika Box over to Expanded. And there is the first Pikarom. And just, okay, Trainer Ball, Nest Ball, pass. So we are going to Karina for a Hitmonchan. And Probably either a Nest Ball or a Versus Seeker. So Nest Ball can just get us our next Hitmonchan or Diancie. Versus Seeker can get us the Karina back if we want both Hitmonchan and Diancie next turn. We also will need a Float Stone eventually, right? So yeah, I think we'll Versus Seeker so we can get a Pokemon and Float Stone next turn with Karina again, since we already have the energy. And they scooped because they saw what deck we were playing, and they likely didn't have that great of a hand since they Trainer Ball, Nest Ball, attach energy, and pass. So that's a favorable matchup. On to the next one. Playing versus the Destroyer of Worlds. And they will be going first again with a cute Pikachu box. I've never seen this box before. That's really cool. Yeah, starting Hitmonchan's fine, and no need to bench the others, since they are techs for specific matchups. And we're playing against Pikarom again. Hopefully we can get a game here, and they won't just scoop because we're playing a fighting deck. At Greensboro Regionals, I played against a Pikarom with 2 Xurkitree GX in their deck. While piloting Hitmonchan, so we actually almost had a real game. They were a little closer than most Pikarom matches would be for this deck. Pokecom for Lele. So, we'll definitely be attaching strong energy. I guess we can adventure bag for a choice band to get more damage in. Let's see, we can't get up to 120, so the one shot might just not be worth reaching for. Volkner for Elixir and Lightning Energy. If he's going to drop the Elixir right now, then he probably should have not searched out the Lightning Energy, because that reduces his odds of hitting it, but he gets the Lightning Energy anyway. Yeah, so maybe we just save Adventure Bag, since we can't go for the one shot here anyway. There's always a chance that we whiff another Pokemon, but I think that's highly unlikely. We don't need a huge bench versus this deck, so I guess we'll just bench an Oricorio as a safety net and play N. Okay, great. And here we're going to Nest Ball for Wobbuffet. And we'll also Nest Ball for Diancie Prism Star for the extra damage. And hit and run. So we'll be able to get a nice 2-shot on this Pikarom most likely. We have Versus Seeker for N. We also have Ultra Ball for Marshadow. Another Volkner, so this list is not very speedy. Most expanded lists are trying to just go super turbo, which I think is correct. Okay, so loading up that Lele. Yeah, this is going to be a Versus Seeker N. Even though they don't have a great hand, we do need to get our Wobbuffet out of there. So we'll just end. And we hit a computer search. Perfect. So we will computer search for floatstone. Putting down another Wobbuffet does not hurt. We don't really need to do anything else. And we take 3 prizes. So far, we've hit 2 Picaroms in a row, and we are dodging the Trevenants, which is all you can ask for with this deck. And a Jolteon EX. Oh no. Okay. We're gonna have to get Shrine of Punishments out and hope that does the trick. Prevent all damage. Okay, so Oricorio can actually come in and do a whopping 10 damage a turn, right? I don't think we have anything else. Mr. Mime can use Psybolt. That's an option. With a counter energy, Kecleon, a counter energy and another energy, Kecleon can use Flash Ray back, or can also use Swift back at the Jolteon once we have Shrine out. So we're just playing the waiting game here. We will Karina. We do have Kecleon in the deck. And Mr. Mime is in the discard pile. Let's see. So we want them to knock it out so we can use teammates. We'll just thin out the deck here. So they knock this out, we send something up with a floatstone, and then we go... Okay. Or no, we don't need the floatstone, right? We need a Versus Seeker. So we'll get Hitmonchan and Versus Seeker. Just thin out the deck for now. And then pass. So our plan is going to be the Kecleon, right? So we can use teammates, let them knock something out, use teammates. There's Nest Ball, which is pretty perfect. I should have gotten Nest Ball last turn and not Versus Seeker. I could have gotten Versus Seeker this turn if I wanted it. Nest Ball was more of an immediate thing, I believe. I'm still not quite set up for what I want to do, so I'll get teammates for the Shrine and... Problem is Kecleon can just be KO'd by Jolteon if they have a Guzma, so I'll get Shrine and Prism Energy, and we're gonna put out Shrine, and then I'm just gonna pass. Okay, they don't have a stadium to bump Shrine, that's perfect. Very, very good. And we can... Karina, just thin out the deck again. So basically, we'll just leave the Shrine here and wait for them to go ahead on prizes. And then we can hopefully, on the turn before they go ahead on prizes, I might take the risk of benching the Kecleon and attaching Prism. And then, so next turn we can attach counter energy and use Flash Ray. So they're at 4. We can add 1 damage with Supernatural Dance, but I'm not thinking that's too worth it. We can actually do 60 with Kecleon if we use Swift with a band, and then just go Teammates Rescue Stretcher forward and do it again. So that could be our win con right there. We don't have to go for the counter energy and everything. And we'll just get this out. Retreat. And we're going to use Swift. Okay, and that's going to be the game because we have Versus Seeker for teammates as long as Stretcher is in our deck. Let's see, we have not used Stretcher yet. I'm only running 1 Stretcher in this list. I ran 2 in Greensboro. Let's see, Stretcher is there, and we're good to go. Bench Keck. Attach Prism, and we'll use Swift for 30 and then Shrine Ticks for the win. And that's the game right there. So that one could get a little close if you don't have a tech like Kecleon that can just, you know, use Flash Ray to stall out the game, or use Swift back at the Jolteon to win. And we also have Shrine of Punishment helping us there. Sirclag the 13th. And we're going first. Let's go. A reasonable start. We want to start Wobbuffet, but can't always happen. Okay, Magikarp Wailord, so we're probably playing against Archies, which means that Wobbuffet is very important here. So we could Karina and Nest Ball for a Wob and use the strong energy to retreat out. And that might just be worth it. So we will grab another Hitmonchan. Actually, do we worry about a potential, what's it called? Towering Splash. I don't think we worry about Towering Splash just yet, since we're going to promote a Wobbuffet, and it's turn 1. It's very unlikely that they get it off with a Wobbuffet in the active. And we will bench this. We will not bench Mr. Mime, and we'll save our Shrine of Punishment. So this could actually be stall, but I'm going to assume that it is Archie's. Yeah, it's Archie's. So we got Archie's, Blastoise, Water Energy in there. They get another battle comp off of the trainer's mail. Heads on order pad after a let loose, and putting us to definitely a usable hand because versus Seeker Kurgan gets us Float Stone. We attached Hitmonchan and we're good to go. So the let loose makes me think they're probably using Azul's list, but I cannot remember if Azul's list used Onyx off the top of my head. Also Kingdra, okay. An Ultra Ball away a Snorlax and a Versus Seeker, and they're going to get the turn 1 Archies. So here is the turn 1 Archies after playing a fair amount of cards, actually. Not getting to use Propagate, not getting to use Shaman setup, and at the moment they cannot use Deluge unless they get a Silent Lab out into play. Okay, attach and pass. So we are going to attach here and Versus Seeker for Karina. And we will Karina for Adventure Bag. And another Hitmonchan. So Adventure Bag gets us Float Stone and Choice Band. Float to the Wobb, Band to the Hitmonchan. We don't need another Hitmonchan benched, so we will just hit and run. It's really likely that they only have the one Marshadow, so we'll get to keep our hand, and so Hitmonchan is better off in our hand. Let's say they get Silent Lab and Towering Splash. Right now they only get 1 kill off of it, so they wouldn't do it. Even with another Hitmonchan down, I'm not sure that they would pull the trigger on that if they had the cards available. So what are we doing here? Bench of Volcanion Prism. And a pass. Okay, so this is working out really well. We want to do moderate damage while locking our opponent out of options, and that is just what is happening here. We could Guzma up the Blastoise and 2-shot it, which I'm very tempted to do instead of 3-shotting this Wailord, because if we get the Blastoise out, then that means they have to Archies again to even have a chance if they hit Silent Lab and everything else. So I'm going to go for the Guzma on the Blastoise and hit and run. So if they don't have Guzma themselves, then this is a KO on the Blastoise. And I believe the deck runs 1 to 2 Guzma. So out of 4 cards, we'll have to see what happens, but not probable that they have it out of 4 cards. But they did have a hand that wasn't doing much for them, so Guzma could be one of those dead cards. They're not doing much. We might see a scoop here soon. The Bide Barricade is pretty annoying to play against. But I definitely feel really comfortable about this game here. No reason to Versus Seeker. We're just going to retreat and KO the Blastoise. Counter Energy, which is very important in this matchup. If they get going, we Counter Energy Shaman their Magikarp Wailord for 3 prizes, as long as we have a Choice Band on our Shaman. That does 300 in 1 attack, but we wouldn't even need the Choice Band right now because their Magikarp Wailord has 100 damage already. We potentially could have Versus Seekered for Karina to get Nest Ball for Mr. Mime Scoop Up block. I'm not sure if that would have been worth it, because then we're out of Versus Seeker, and that's all we get off of the Karina other than another fighting Pokemon to just hold in our hand. And they will send up Marshadow. Both Archies in here. Only 1 Versus Seeker used, so that's good for them. Just depends on if they want to grind out this game and see what they can draw, because we have them in a position that is very favoring for us. Okay, looking good. We're doing 70, we're doing 50 because of resistance right now. We could Guzma up Wailord and try to make this game go a little faster. Just speed up the process of killing this before they can ace or roll it, or we can just attach an energy and knock out Marshadow. I think I'm fine with doing this. Almost clicked DNC there. That would have been a mistake. That would have been very bad. Okay, cool. We get another strong energy. That's awesome. If anything happens, is this Hitmonchan, which it doesn't look like it's going to anytime soon. We have a backup Hitmonchan and a backup strong energy. So they'll probably just send up something else to just sit there and take damage. Probably the Volcanion Prism, if I had to guess. No, it's going to be the Onyx. They just want to prove me wrong here. So 6 cards in hand now. Every turn it's getting a little bit more likely they might be able to do something. They have 3 Versus Seekers, 3 Trainer Males left. But the only supporter in their discard is an Archie, so they can't actually do much with a Versus Seeker since they have a large hand. And they scoop. So that does happen sometimes with this deck, like I said, but the point of the deck is to just deal damage while locking your opponent out of abilities. And it is working and doing just that. I think this list is pretty good so far. This was my first testing with it. The Kecleon definitely paid off versus Jolteon EX. We didn't get to play against Garbodor, which is why it's in there in the first place. but it showed that it can actually be a good tech for a various amount of things. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to use code CELIO, all caps, at flipsidegaming.com for 10% off of your next order, $10 or more. Follow me on Twitter and Twitch and all of that good stuff. It's all in the link below. And I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.